Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you today is another Star Wars The Black Series archive figure comparison. I do this basically every time I get an archive release figure so that I can show you how I justify buying the same figure again, but slightly different, hopefully. So this is the Han Solo in Hoth gear. This is the Hoth gear version that he appears in at the beginning of the movie. It was originally released in 2015, I believe it was the spring, and it actually came with this fun little tauntaun. Obviously the archive release version does not come with it. Much like the Wampa with the Luke, I kind of hope they release the tauntaun at some point, mostly because I would like to have one for my Hoth Luke. You know, he rode one too. I don't know why Han Solo just gets one, but this isn't a review for this. I just kind of want to show you what this came with versus this. This is the old Hoth Han Solo. He's not great. Mine's very dusty, as you can see. I've had it since it came out. That was like almost 6 years ago. So it's definitely a 6-year-old Star Wars The Black Series figure. This is the new one. You can see that this has the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm logo on it. You can see right off the bat without even opening it that his cloak, no, it's not a cloak, it's a coat. His coat is a different color. This is blue, this is brown. And I believe there's actually 2 different colors of this, which is weird because they made a point when they announced this figure that they definitively chose what color Han Solo's jacket was. I actually wasn't really aware that it was different color, but I'm colorblind, so I couldn't really tell in the first place. But they chose brown instead of the blue that we got here. But then they went and released the brown in 2 different shades of brown for some reason. I believe this is the darker shade. I decided to not care about having another 3rd version with a slightly different color coat. So this is the new back. You'll notice that it's missing the blurb the old archive figures used to come with to tell you what the original version was. But now we have this little timeline of Lucasfilm starting in 1971 all the way to 2021 and the movies, and all the Star Wars movies they've made. I guess Lucasfilm has made other movies, but Star Wars is no doubt their most famous. Bye, Han. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to cut away from me, as a responsible person should. Pull that out here, and then we have the bubble. In the bubble, we have the Han Solo. We've got his classic DL-44 blaster here. It's a little bent. Look at that. That's something you can't straighten out, little heat. And then he comes with the binoculars here. Now, the original one came with binoculars, but I never really cared about having him use them. So I left them in the package that it came in, and I am definitely not going to dig it out of the garage just for this video. So you're just going to have to trust me that he came with one. I'm sure it's not super different, but if it is, you're not going to find out from this video because that's just something that's not going to happen. Anyways, this is the Han Solo. Now, in theory, this is using the new face printing paint options technology they've got. This part does come off, as does the goggles here. So they are 2 separate pieces. And then we have him in his fun little cap hat here. So there is a face printed underneath there. It looks pretty nice. Let's go ahead and take the blue one off here. There we go. So yeah, you can definitely see the difference in that face for sure. There's a pretty big difference. I don't think it's great. I don't know. Probably because of the problems they have getting it under the cap. I think that cap, it looks like it actually might be a separate piece. If they had done like the Hoth Rebel Soldier, this would be removable and you could swap the face out, and that's actually a pretty cool thing. I definitely think that the paint is better on the cap too. I feel like there's more definition in the molded, sculpted parts in here. You could definitely see the difference in the coat. I like this color better. It might not be screen accurate, but I like this color better, but it doesn't really matter ultimately. Whatever it was in the movie, that's what they should be. So let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation here. First, we've got his head. No side-to-side waggle because it's the older sculpt. You have to keep in mind that this is a 2015 release, so it's going to move like one. His arm moves out there, moves all the way around. He does have an elbow bend there, a little bit at 90 degrees. It does have a swivel as well. Now, this is one of my biggest problems with this figure. There's no actual hinge or swivel at the wrist. It's down here at the forearm at the glove. I don't know why they did that. It's a weird choice because you can't really do anything with this. You can't move his hand back and forth. All you can do is swivel this, and that's about it. It's a really weird choice for articulation here. Is his back like that? Look at mine's weird. Mine's is this an error? Like that's the same. But then for some reason the coat on mine comes down super far in the back. I don't really know what's going on there. That's kind of weird. Mine definitely has an error. I don't think that's how that's supposed to be. But it's also in the back and no one's really gonna notice. But yeah, that's really weird. His legs move out that far. This one's a little bit hindered by the belt here, but it's not a big deal because I don't know what kind of crazy poses you're gonna be putting your Han Solo in. It's nice that it's not like glued down on his leg, so it's not that restrictive. He does have the upper thigh swivel. He's got the double jointed legs, and he's got the ankle and the swivel here, or I guess a rocker. I wonder, his head does pop off pretty easily. To my knowledge, the only other kind of photoreal faces they've done with Han are the Endor and the Bespin, and they're the same. They're basically the same figure, or very similar figures. The problem here is that this pops off on the wrong end. I'm sure some cool customizer can figure out how to do this, but as far as I know, there isn't any easy way to, like, if you want an actual like Han Solo head that doesn't have the cap on it. If they ever kind of update the original Han Solo, the one that came out in 2013, I'm sure that we could swap these out pretty easily. But if you want a non-capped Han Solo, you're gonna have to do some messing around with. That's kind of a bummer, but I guess it is what it is. I definitely think that the face is better. This doesn't really look like Han Solo at all to me. So one of the other things he comes with are these goggles here. You can't actually put them on, as far as I know. You can't put them on his face. So if you want to do that, too bad. It's just gotta sit on his cap like that. That's as good as it can really get. And then again, he's got this little hood. There's a little slit on the back to allow it to fit over his head. Oh, I guess now that I think about it, they did release this with the updated head in the Hoth Echo base set. He's got like real fur instead of the molded plastic. I have that. It's in my closet. I haven't opened it yet. So I suppose if I wanted to open that up, I could put that on this Han if I wanted an unmasked Han. But I might do that at some point, but I'm not going to for this video, just because I just thought of it right now, and that seems like a lot of work. The blaster does fit into his holster, and then like I said, he also does have these binoculars. Now they're molded to hang on his shoulder like this, so you can carry him around like that if you want to. You can put it, I guess, in his hands, but like they molded this to not really do that. It's kind of, I guess you can put it back here like this. There we go. So you can kind of do something like that if you want to. Just kind of looks like a tourist. Yeah, so that's about it for the comparison. I never actually got around to reviewing these either. So if I were to give it some sort of score, the looks, I mean, I'll give this one a 0.75. It's not terrible, but I think it probably could be a little bit better if they kind of wanted to take another crack at the sculpt. The old one, I'm gonna give it a 0.5. I'm just not a big fan of how they went around doing this. For the accessories, this one I'm gonna give them a 1 because he came with the Tauntaun, and that's awesome. This one I'm gonna give a 0.75 just because I know Han Solo's always hard because like he comes with his blaster, and like what else does he come with? At least he comes with binoculars, which is cool. They could have done an extra head without the hat. There could have been other things, extra hands, lots of stuff they could have done. So I'll give it a 0.75. For the articulation, I'm gonna give it a 0.5 point. These wrists have always bugged me. It's a weird choice they did. Also, obviously, his articulation has aged. He's a 6-year-old figure at this point. As far as the paint sculpt and detail goes, I mean, I guess it's fine. I have this weird error on this one that's not on this one, and I don't know if that's a thing other people have or not. But like the belt's good, the pants are good. I mean, he's a Hoth Han Solo. Like I don't know what else people are really expecting from him in terms of paint and sculpt. I'll give it a 0.75. It's fine. It just doesn't wow me. And then the want and availability is, in terms of want, the Hoth Han and Luke were good choices because they did fit into the whole Empire Strikes Back theme of last year, and they should have come out last year. I would have liked them to do a whole new head, kind of like they did with the Luke Skywalker Bespin. These are not as bad as the original version of that one, so I understand that they why they didn't, but I still would have liked it. The want's there, sure. It's overdue, although I think it's just time for a whole new version rather than an update of the old version, if that makes sense. But the availability is pretty nice. I've seen them in stores so far. You can get them online. I got mine from Dorkside Toys, so wherever you want, you can easily get them. So I'm gonna give it the 1 of a full point for want and availability. And because I'm doing this off the cuff, I honestly completely forgot the scores that I gave it already. So on the screen is the current score for this, and that's the score I'm standing by. It's not a bad figure. It's cool that people can fill a hole in their collection with something they might have missed, 6 years ago. I'm glad they were releasing these, but they definitely could be better, and I would have preferred whole new sculpts instead of just re-releases of these versions. With that being said, let me know down in the downstairs area what you thought of this. Did you like this? Were you looking forward to it? Were you going with the Echo-based version anyway, which I think is probably a better version than this one? Let me know. I love to read and respond to all the comments down in the downstairs area. I'd also love to thank the people on screen for supporting me on Patreon at a Black Series level or higher. Thanks so much. It means a lot to me. If you want to see your name on this list, you can head down to my Patreon channel, which is in the downstairs area as well. If Patreon's not your thing, there are a couple different ways down in the downstairs area. You can also support the channel that are free, up to and including liking, sharing, subscribing, hitting the bell for more notifications, and all that jazz. But with that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for getting this far, and I'll see you later. Bye.